Everybody, this is the higher time frame analysis for the month of June. We've just started June. Let's have a look here at futures, then Forex, and then crypto. So here the US equities, we are in a vertical market. I prefer, of all those equities, I actually prefer the Russell, because the Russell has catching up potential. It has just broken the last high. There's much more. There's a lot of power embedded in here. Now this is an S1 pattern, and that might develop a test bar to be traded. Now Nasdaq is very interesting because we have got the AI companies doing really well. Well, it's maybe a bubble. I don't know much about AI stocks, but this is driven here. This is driven by basically by AI, and this is a signal we got early on. I didn't act on it, but it worked out nicely. This is a super trend, so it allows for opportunities in on the 240, for example. So the US equities should resume their vertical market, and the vertical market looks like this, fanning out moving averages with strong and harsh pullbacks to the 21 moving average, ideally. Now let's have a quick look at the metals. So let's look here at gold. That basically stands for gold, silver, platinum, palladium. That stands for all of those. So we're forming an S1 pattern here on the daily chart. Well, we need an excitable price action event, a test bar, and it's coiling here, coiling, coming together with the 200 moving average. I think we're going to see what we're looking for: an explosive event to the downside, a test bar, and a rebreak. Well, just remember, we need a really strong reaction on the downside in order to pull off the ground to the upside. We've got the 5,000 big number, and we are already overextended, right, on the quarterly chart. So we need really a high quality test bar, a spike to shake off the weak the weak bulls. Let's move on now to copper. I really like copper because it has built a lot of power here. This is an S1, this is an S2, right? Well, within an S1, and we've got other patterns along the way. This very much reminds myself the silver chart before it exploded, because it five-folded. So we could actually see something similar with copper. I've written one of the weekly trader insights about why copper. Well, it has to do with the Strait of Hormuz, because it's blocked, and it cannot. Well, an important ingredient cannot be exported anymore. That actually is needed to extract copper out of the ground. Now, copper, interesting as always. I'm actually invested in copper miners, which is interesting, which is a leverage play on copper, and it has some beta from US equities, because it's mining companies are listed on the stock exchange. So you've got a mix of copper influence and equities influence, and it's leveraged on the copper price. So let's just see how that works. How that works out. Now let's have a look at energies. It's highly political, right? But we are forming a consolidation here. We actually see it better with heating oil. Again, here we've got an S1 pattern. It might morph into an S2 futures pattern, but this is not over. This is not over yet. This is not a blow off top. There's more to come here. We've just started this move. That's the first leg of a multi-leg up move. This is what we discussed in the weekly Trader Insights as well newsletter. There was a buy signal down here. Let's move now to Forex. Let's have a quick look at euro dollar, just because it's the most liquid pair of all, but it's not much going on. We're sitting here still on the flat line, still waiting for either a bullish reaction or a bearish reaction, as this is an S1 pattern long. Well, I bet that we should actually see a spike of the 200 moving average and a spike of the big number, and probably a stop run move of these levels up here. So a spike actually means that the dollar is losing value, well, at least against the euro. Now the yen is actually the weakest pair of all of them, and we can see how over the last couple of months, well, since the beginning of the year, actually for quite some time, we are forming an S2 an S2 pattern, a lot of pressure building here with the 21 being a dynamic support. So we're actually looking here for a breakout and see more yen weakness. We see that against all other yen currencies. Cross pairs. Well, let's have a look here now quickly at the US yen, because it's the most important yen pair, the US. Here as well, it's coiling at the very important level here, at the big number level, and sooner or later we're nagging at that level for 2 years. Well, sooner or later we'll break that level, and we're going to see either this measured move, we're going to see this type of measured move, and this will probably go hand in hand with the spike in yields in Japan, because their budget gets tighter and tighter. If the yields increase, well, that might be a hard hit on the yen. So yeah, it should devalue in that situation, and I think that might be the fundamental reason for the yen getting weaker and weaker over time. Let's have a look now at the CAD. So the CAD shows a lot of weakness against many cross pairs. For example, here the euro, we've actually completed an S1 pattern. We've drawn that before down here, and it's completed. It's basically at the entry level, and we should see this chart rising into the target area of 170. So very bullish momentum here for the euro CAD. Let's have a look at the other CAD pairs. CAD Swiss. Well, Swiss is our strongest currency, so it's not a surprise that this goes down. The CAD Swiss, it has formed an S2 pattern as well, coiling, and if that level breaks S2, well, we should see a bullish move to the downside. So weakness for the CAD and continued strength for the yen. Let's have a look at the pound versus the CAD. Looks very weak too for the CAD, right? We've got an S1 pattern here. It has not moved yet a lot, but once we break these highs again here, we should see good follow through developing. Now, okay, we've looked at this. Okay, well, let's have a look at the US Swiss. So let's focus on the Swissy. Here we had this S2 pattern breakout. It went a while, it came back, retested the line, retested the big number, which is not a surprise, right? And now we're basically forming here again. We're coiling. We see that a lot with these currency pairs recently. It's maybe because of the Iran war and the difficult economic situation, but that screams for lower prices. Swiss yen. Let's combine a strong currency with a weak currency, and what we get, surprise, we get a very bullish chart, and it's an S2 pattern here as well. If this breaks, well, we should see a good momentum coming out of it. So overall, Swiss strength, dollar undecided, euro dollar undecided yet, yen weakness and CAD weakness. Let's have a look at cryptocurrencies. Okay, here with cryptocurrencies, I've got a very strong opinion, as you know, well, weakly held as a trader, right? So this is an S1 pattern short. I've called it all the time, and it has rebroken the red line, and now it's developing momentum. It has taken out the first stop run level. It is testing the second stop run level, and the third is actually a new low. When we get to a new low, and it's actually sitting now, right, on the 200 moving average. When we get a new low, I mean, hell will break loose, right? You'll read it in the newspaper, and it should actually happen in order to shake off the weak bulls. This is the target area, and I would love to see an external event that MicroStrategy is getting squeezed. I mean, everybody knows it. The big guys know it. The hedge funds, they know that MicroStrategy might get squeezed, because I mean all the bitcoins they have accumulated, it is I mean the average buying price of Bitcoin is 75. Currently we're below that. We're below that average buying price. So if we move considerably lower, they have to devaluate their Bitcoin holdings on the active side of the balance sheet. They have to devaluate, and it finds right away its way to the balance sheet. Well, that's the risk, that they have to sell some of their Bitcoin holdings, and that would be a squeeze, right? And that could lead to a final sell-off which would actually be the ideal situation to just clear the market. And also I've got a good eye on MicroStrategy, MSTR as well, and the target area is down here, so there's quite some way to go. So this is it. I'm not bullish at all cryptocurrencies, and I'm looking for a final washout, and then I'm very happy to accumulate again, but not at these levels. You can see it here in the monthly chart. We are still quite high. We need a drop, right? Just looking at the monthly chart, not looking at the numbers. I would look for like a price level somewhere here, and that's the 50,000. It could drop even further, right? Because this was an important pattern. It could even drop to the 30,000. So between 30 and 50, this is basically the target area, depending on how bad the situation becomes, right? MicroStrategy squeeze, we might drop to the 30,000. We would still be in a bullish market, because this is just it would just retest the breakout level from this pattern, which is nothing special to happen. So this is why I've drawn in here that the target area for Bitcoin, it's between 50 and 30. The lower it goes, well, the better, because I'm flat cryptos. I'm sitting in cash to accumulate again. Thank you.